Hey, welcome to the Huntsville Hustle podcast, where we celebrate stories of grit, growth, and greatness here in Huntsville and the business scene. And today, we have the secret weapon behind some of the most successful brands and leaders out there. So, Dwaynia Wilkerson, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you for having me. I am always happy to chat with you.
Absolutely. She's already flexing her background on me. If you're watching the video, her background's so much better. I got to pick my game up. And by the way, if you're watching the video, I'm going to go and apologize. My head's shiny. It just is. It's just where we're at right now in my life. But hopefully you just listen to audio. But anyway, if you had to describe your business to somebody who has no idea what you do, what would you tell
Okay, so the name of my business is Prose and Pens. And now I don't go through the lengthy spiel that I used to go through when I first started. I just tell people that I am a ghostwriter.
There you go. And do they get that most of the time? They understand what a ghostwriter is?
They do. When people think of ghostwriting, they primarily think of books, which is perfectly fine. At least they have some context for it. But after we talk, they have a much broader idea of ways that a ghostwriter can be used, but they are definitely familiar with the term.
Man, I'm like you. When I first started, I had a lot of words for people when they asked me. Try to niche it down. Though you live and you learn. But
Yes.
when you first started, what was a problem you were trying to solve when you started your business?
So when I started, I just wanted to help people create better written communications. What I saw, and I'm sure you've probably seen too, is that when people were writing to their audiences, they were using way too many words, and things were just too complicated. And so when people create a very complicated written content, what happens is nobody reads it because it takes too much of their time to figure out what you're talking about. And so I really just wanted to help people simplify so that people would be interested in reading.
There you go. Because who's got time? Nobody has time. When our attention is shrinking, we don't need more words. We need less.
Yes.
And we need to be hard hitting words. And if you can't do that, guess what? That's where Dwayne comes in, right?
Mhm.
So, speaking of that, who is a good fit for what you do?
So a good fit for me right now would be someone who is 5+ years in business. And they have solidified their branding. They've had a certain level of successes. And when I say certain level of successes, that is relative. But they have a solid brand and a solid idea about what they're offering in their business and to whom. So they have the business brand worked out, and what they would like to focus on now is their personal brand.
There you go. There you go. So some of us, we talked about this before in another podcast. We're just talking about how if you're a leader, you have a brand, right? Can you kind of break that down a little bit for people?
So when, like you said, when you are a leader, you have, as frankly, all of us have a brand. If we are interacting with people on a day-to-day basis, we have a brand, and that brand comes from people's perceptions of us, whether they are real or whether they are made up in somebody's mind. We all have a brand. But if you are a leader, especially, you are responsible for building your brand. You are responsible for crafting the narrative around who you are, what type of leader you are, what type of leader you hope to be, and then projecting that. And what happens is when people don't take the time to think about their personal brands, you do leave it up to other people to say, well, he's like this, she's like this. And once you get that he's like this, she's like this reputation, and that's what people come to think of you, it's a little bit hard to undo it. So the goal is to always help my clients take the lead in creating the brand.
There you go. Don't leave it up to chance. You don't want to be that guy or girl.
No.
You don't want that. So let me ask you this: why Huntsville for your business? You could probably do yours from pretty much anywhere. Why Huntsville?
Because that's where I was when I had this bright idea. I mean, I was
Good answer.
Yeah. I was here in Huntsville, and I really didn't think about Huntsville being a great place to start a business. That was not on my mind, to be quite honest. It's just that I was here and I was looking to do something different in my career. But I will say, Joe, what I have discovered makes Huntsville a great place to start a business is that Huntsville is a big, small city. And what I mean is that there are enough people here that you can start something, have people to help you, have clients. But it's small enough that really no one is out of reach. Like you can, if there's someone in Huntsville that you like to know, you like to meet, you like to get to, Huntsville is a small enough place where that can happen.
Yeah, that's a great part about it, and kind of the bad part. If you don't like someone, you could probably see them in the grocery store. So you got to be careful out there.
Right.
Don't burn any bridges if you don't have to, right? So it's a small big town. So is there an official date on the calendar when we start wearing Birkenstock with socks, or is it just a feel thing? How does that work?
Well, I usually start around the first day of fall. So I think that is this weekend.
So I had to bring it out. You know how to bring it
No,
out.
yeah. So this weekend we
That's one
are
of my fun
ready.
facts about you. So what makes you different from your competition?
Okay, this is gonna sound a little
Say it. I know what you're talking about. Go ahead.
it may sound cocky, but you knew that was coming.
I know.
But I don't really think of myself as having competitors. If anything, I have colleagues. And I don't think of myself as having competitors because number one, if you are always in that frame of mind where you're in competition with someone else, that keeps your eyes on some other focus. I always want to be focused on whatever my prize is. And that is a thing. Like I can say that now, but when I started the business, I did think in a little bit of a competitive mode, and I was watching what other people were doing, and I was not focusing enough on myself. So I got rid of the competition. Competition has been left in the dust. But what I can say I feel is different from others who do similar things is that I really treat my business as a business. I show up as a business. I place myself in rooms as a business. I speak about my business as a business. And I do see sometimes that people, especially when they are very small, they shrink a little. That doesn't help anybody have confidence in you. And so that I think that that is a definite difference. I show up like there is power behind my business.
Oh, I like that. So y'all write that down. Y'all write that down. So, hey, it's not bragging if you can back it up, right?
No,
You're just reporting the news. It's not bragging if you can back it up.
exactly.
So, well, tell us about what services you do offer. I mean, you mentioned the ghostwriting. What's within that? What do you offer?
Okay, so typically when I'm working with clients, especially since there's more of a focus on personal branding, there's lots of book writing, speeches. When people are applying for awards like a small business awards, or when they are applying for entry into programs, maybe leadership programs, and there are those long applications of questions. I help my clients out with those things. I have clients who, like I said, they've built their business brands and they're building their personal brands. So they are seeking awards, seeking speaking engagements, want to have a book to hand out when they do speak. So all of that type of content is what I help them create.
Man, those forms are so long sometimes. That is worth its weight in gold right there. You ain't got time for that. If you're a business owner listening, you ain't got time for that. Just
No,
admit. Just
not at
hire Dwaynia.
all.
She'll take care of it for you. So if you could change one thing about the business environment in the Huntsville area, what would you change?
So I thought about this one. I would honestly like to see more diversity. I feel like rooms are very separated around here. You go into one room and the audience is predominantly one way. You go into another room and there's a predominant audience, and I don't see enough of a mix or a mingling. So I would really like to see more diverse crowds and audiences in one place.
Have you got any suggestions how we do that? How do we do that?
Well, so I think that people have to be stop being afraid to be around people who are not exactly like you. I mean, that's really if I Joe had let walking into rooms where people don't look like me keep me from going into those rooms. I will not have the clients that I have. I will not have the relationships that I have. And it is very uncomfortable when you are going into a place and you're looking around and you're like, no one here looks like me. No, so you start to think that no one here has the issues that you have, or no one here has the concerns that you have, which is all untrue. But you don't know that because you don't give yourself an opportunity to meet and engage with new people. We really have to stop being afraid to just be around some people who are not like us, who are
That's it.
seemingly, let me say that, seemingly not like us.
Yeah. I think if you sit down, had a meal, shared a drink, something with somebody who doesn't look like you find you have a whole lot more in common than
Yes.
you don't.
Yep.
Right? We just got to sit down and talk, man. So don't be afraid. It's
Yep.
2024, man. Come on.
Right.
Let's pick it up. So let's say, was there, I know being a business owner, it can be tough, right? Was there a moment along the way you're like, I'm going to go back to a regular job? I'm giving up. Did you ever have that moment?
There were 1,000 moments. From 2016 when I started until I can tell you the exact month, June of 2019. I woke up every day saying, I don't want to do this, but then push forward. But yeah, that was that like a 3-year period nearly that I was second guessing what I was doing. It was like maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe this is not the thing for me. And let me grab my grade book and go back to teaching. So yeah, there were many moments that I thought about not moving forward.
Man, I'm with you. Going back to a job where when the clock hits a certain amount, you don't have to do anything until the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Man, those are sweet. And then I look back, it's like, no, I ain't doing that. So, what kept you going though? Was it that grade book? Like, man, I don't want to face this thing again. What kept you going?
Um, God, really, because I'm a person who believes that if you have a thing inside of you that seems like nobody else gave it to you, and you know that you probably could not have conceived it yourself, but you feel very passionate, very strongly about it, I feel like that comes from God. And so I was like, I just have to see this thing through. And if there comes a time when I should pivot or quit or do something else, I will know. But see, right now, those feelings of quitting, they're just riding on the surface. Like they weren't deep within me. I could recognize that it was just the surface level feeling because I was doing something so hard, harder than anything that I ever done before. And I just felt like if I could just hang on another day and another day and another day, then this was going to work out for me. But even thinking in that way, I say came from God.
That's it. I think we all, if you're a business owner, you're lying if you've never felt like that.
Yeah.
That you felt like, what am I doing? If you hadn't had a little bit of that imposter syndrome, it happens. And you just got to push through. I think that's why so many don't make it, why the small business owners, they're not great.
Yep.
Like the percentages of making it. But man, there's greatness on the other side. You just got to push through sometimes, just like you did. So kudos to you, man, keeping on going. I know how hard it can be.
Yeah.
So changing gears a little bit right here. So is there some technology or an app that's been a game changer for you?
So this is such a small little thing, but it's been a game changer. Have you heard of Boomerang for Gmail?
I have not. Tell me about that.
It's an email manager. And it was a game changer for me because as a creative person, creatives sometimes have a reputation for not getting things done. And
you said sometimes?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
And I was like, okay, if I don't learn how to become more organized, this is gonna all go downhill anyway. So when I discovered Boomerang for Gmail, it helped me learn how to prioritize what was coming into my inbox. it helped me when I'm working late at night. I can schedule emails to go out the next morning. So I'm not emailing people at 10 o'clock at night just because I have a thought about something, so I can schedule it. It allows me to snooze my email. So if I'm working and I don't want to see those notifications popping up on my phone or my laptop, then I can snooze. It has just really helped me to manage my time and to prioritize what I'm doing for the day.
I got to look into that, especially that snooze stuff, man. When I'm
Yes.
just trying to lock in, got to stay away from that. I thought I knew something. You said boomerang. I remember that Instagram thing. It would be like
Oh
pictures
yeah.
of something doing. I thought I knew about that. But
Yeah.
so anyway, on a kind of related note, are you worried AI is going to affect your career?
I'm not. That's the cockiness again.
Bring it. I want to hear it. Yeah, that's it. Right? Yeah, I'm just saying for you, nobody can bring to the table what you. I don't care if it's AI or anything like that. They can't bring to the table what you can.
Well, really, the honest reason that I'm not worried, Joe, is because you have to know your clients, right? So my clients are not people. They don't want to be bothered with learning how to use AI, Chat GPT, those things. They want me to do it. They want some human being person to do it for them. Because in order for AI to work for them, they have to learn the technology. They are not interested in learning the technology. And some of them who are even familiar with it don't like the way it sounds. And I've had a client ask me, like, if I am using AI as an assistant, and I don't. And she was like, well, good, because I don't want you to use that on the content that you create for me. So and then I'm just not a person who, like I told you about the competition, I have to, in order to remain focused and in order to do what I need to do, I have to I have to keep a really narrow focus on what's ahead of me, what I already know is mine. And so I can't really pay attention to what's happening. I mean, I'm aware of AI, but I can't let that drive my decisions in a way that throws me off course.
There you go. Forget AI. Just do DW. That's all you need. That's only two initials
That's
you
pretty
need.
much it.
So, yeah, that's it. So tell me about a big mistake or something you did over the years that could have cost your business, but actually kind of propelled you forward a little bit.
Listen to what is a big mistake I made? I'm going to say, this is a mistake I almost made. And it was in that 2016 to 2019 time period. And I didn't have enough traction. I didn't feel like the business was growing at the pace that I felt like it should. And I was like, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to start a closet organization business. And I called a friend of mine, Tracy. She was at work. And she was like, basically, she was like, oh, hell no, you not. And so she was like, Dwaynia, it doesn't matter what you start. You're always going to start from the beginning. So whatever you feel like you're having to do now that you don't want to do, you're still going to have to do those same things. You're still going to have to put in the time. You're still going to have to put in the work as what you're having to put in with Prose and Pens. And I was like, you're right. And so I almost made a pivot to something completely different. And I don't think that would have gone as well for me as this writing business has.
Man, you got to be in people's houses. You don't want that, do you?
No.
You can do this from there. You can be there. You can't wear your Crocs or your Birkenstocks in there to someone's clothes. They can't have that. So,
No.
I mean, you made the right choice. So this is a related question. Is there someone you would like to thank for your success?
First of all, Tracy.
There you go,
I
Tracy.
would like to thank Tracy for keeping me on track. Also, I have another friend, Toya. Toya, especially in the beginning, she was such a cheerleader for me. She still is, but at that time when I felt like I needed it most, she was she just believed in me probably more than I believed in myself. And so I have to thank her for her prayers, her cheerleading. Tracy for for making sure that I stay within this business. And then also, Lori Hurd. Lori owns a marketing agency here, Move Digital. Lori has been so pivotal for me in my business because she has been very transparent. She has basically pulled back the curtain on her own business so that I can see, okay, these are some things I'm doing wrong, or maybe these are some things that I can take from her and implement them into my own business. And we've also we still do collaborate on several clients. So those three women have been really, really, really helpful for me.
Man, we all need people like that in our lives,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's so important. Someone just keep you going when you're down, help you out, just show, hey, here's what I did to be successful. Can I help you? Man,
Yes.
put the ladder back down. Help the other
Mm-hmm.
people come on up,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's what this podcast is all about. It's collaboration over competition.
Yes.
I know you live that lifestyle anyway, but
Yes.
that's why I wanted to have you on. One of the many reasons. But is there a habit or routine that's been really kind of part of your key to your success?
Placing myself on the schedule.
Oh.
People say to me all the time, like, it must be nice because you can wake up when you want to and you can work when you want to. I actually cannot, because I need to be up working when my clients are up working. And also, if I were to just, let's say I decide to stay in bed until 10 a.m., I mean, that's the morning gone right there. And so then I'm putting myself into the afternoon, and there's already a window in which I can actually work, like mentally. There's a window for me to work. And so I'm putting myself at 10 o'clock, and then another 2 hours, I'm already out of it. So putting myself on a schedule, like I have my bedtime alarm set for 9 p.m., and I try to be in bed by 10. I'm usually up by 5:30, 5:45, 6. I work out, do all those other little things, and then my work day is set to start no later than 9:30, 10. And so I work into the afternoon, and then whatever happens in the afternoon, maybe I go to dinner with a friend or something like that. And then usually I'll come back home in around 5. I'll work for another 2 hours from 5 to 7. And that is pretty much my work day. I have a very scheduled work day. Do I always stick to it exactly? Probably not. But having one thing that I'm always going to do is I'm going to go to bed and get up at the same time. And then I know that I have those parameters in my day to keep me on track.
See, here's the problem with when you can work anytime you want to. Sometimes the work don't get done,
Exactly.
right? Because something's going to come up. Leave your home. I need to do some laundry. I need to do these dishes over here. Something will come up. If you don't put yourself on that schedule, man, it ain't going to happen. So that's a smart way to do it.
Yeah.
I feel like me. If you ain't super disciplined, it's got to happen. So,
yeah.
Who in our local business community is someone that you admire? Why do you admire them?
So when I read that question, the person who immediately came to mind is Amanda Howard. When I was very new in business, Amanda and I had lunch, and just her openness about how her business started and some of the ways that she put herself out there to gain some traction and to get clients. I mean, she has a real like boots on the ground story for when she, first started her business or was trying to start her business, and to look at to where she has grown today, I think is just amazing.
Man, that's a lot of hard work. People see the end game. They don't see the beginnings,
Yes.
right? So
Yes. And if you ever talk to her, she is not shy about sharing her story. I mean, I applaud her. She has done an amazing job in growing her business to what she has.
That's it. Yeah, she's a huge brand now. You talk about brands. She's done amazing. So, let me ask you this: when are you going to run that half marathon? It got quiet in here. What happened? Sorry, that went on the list. We'll move on. So, if you could go back and change one decision in time, would you go back, not the closet organized thing? What's another decision? When you go back, you could change one decision. What would it be?
I wouldn't change anything.
There you go.
Um,
You were supposed to.
yeah, I am. I had a lot of tough times, but I learned some things from all of those tough times. And I think that if I could go back and start manipulating history, I would not have learned the lessons. I would not have grown as much. I would not have become as disciplined, as resilient, as cocky as I am now. So I wouldn't change anything.
That's it, man. When you look back, all those like the worst times you ever go through, they're usually the reason why you are where you are,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you got to go through those things sometimes. You're
Mm-hmm.
right. If you take that away, maybe you don't push to the next level to get to where you are. So
Yeah,
that's a
because
great
where's
answer.
your learning if you take away some of the tough times? Like we can learn from other people and we can definitely learn from success. That's not what I'm saying. But it
Yeah,
is something about the times that give you the time to self-reflect that I feel like you get your greatest lessons.
that,
Want to know how you get your head so shiny.
man. You wake up. I'm just blessed. Some people just blessed. I don't do nothing but wake up and get a light on my head. That's all it takes.
That's it.
So if someone was wanting to start a small business in Huntsville, what's one piece of advice you give that person?
Get off the internet and meet people in person. Um, there's so many people. I see this with small businesses, ones that are newly started, maybe ones that are. I just see it too often that people are hinging everything on social media rather than going out meeting people face to face. And if you don't know anything else about Huntsville, you should know that Huntsville is all about connections. And you just don't build the same connections making posts on Facebook and Instagram as you are going to make meeting people in person. Yes, those things should be supplementary, but they're never going to replace face-to-face interactions with the people in your community.
Man, rewind that and listen to it again because that is such good advice that a lot of people they want to hide behind. I get it, man. I'm like that. I'm an introvert by nature, but man, when you go out and people want to put a face on that business, right?
Mm-hmm.
They want to know what's this person about, and that's so valuable if you go out there and do that. If you'll actually do it,
Right.
and unless you're a bad person, then stay home, right?
Yeah, if you're bad, stay home. However,
No, stay home.
if you are not, you have to get out here and you have to do it consistently. It's not
That's it.
easy, but you have to be consistent.
Yeah, it's going to be hard in the beginning. Just like when you talk about walking in some rooms, you're not comfortable, and you just got to push through that. That's part of the deal, man. If you're going to own a business, you got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. So, people heard about all you, they know about you, they see your face and all that. But how can they connect with you online and social media, all that good stuff?
So I am for business. It is probably the best place to find me is on LinkedIn. And I am trying to put my business back on Instagram. I had to choose one and I chose LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is a great place. And then the website, proseandpens.com. And you can always send me an email. I respond to my emails when they are not from bots and when they are not spam. So feel free to send me an email.
There you go. Look for her out in the community because she's going to put her face out there, but she's also on those. We'll link those in show notes. If you can't spell good like me, you can just click on stuff. That'll be much easier. But hey, Dwaynia, thanks so much for coming. I always enjoy talking. I always learn something from you. And make sure you follow on LinkedIn because she gives you great tips for your business. And if you're a leader out there, you definitely need to follow her. So make sure you come on that. Dwaynia, it's always a pleasure speaking with you.
You too, Joe. Thank you for having me again. It really is always great to talk to you.
Always. We get along good, right? Hey, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Huntsville Hustle podcast. We're getting this thing out there. So if you could please share this episode with somebody, we're going to help try to grow small businesses together. It's collaboration, not competition. Appreciate you guys listening. We'll see you guys next week on the Huntsville Hustle podcast.